Shri, you are in a very competitive space. As a matter of fact, why don't you talk about the space to the audience a little bit? But how do you compete in that space? I mean, it's kind of like catch up, but then again, you're trying to flip some things, I'm sure, give people new ways to do things that are better. But what's your approach that's able to help your team grab market share?
Yeah, it's a really good question, David. I think the key here is to differentiate enough in the market because you don't necessarily need to compete on every facet of the competition. So when somebody is competing on a space, you want to figure out how do you compete in a space that's slightly different than they are and offer a differentiated service or offering. So in our case, one of the things that really makes us unique and different is that in the HR tech performance management goal setting space, one of the things that makes us different is our unique focus on taking a very holistic approach to employee engagement. So when you take an employee engagement based approach to performance management, that makes it very different. The other aspect that's very different is the fact that we have a learning management system as well, and we have a lot of partnerships as part of that that really offers our client a suite that is a lot more broader than looking at only one aspect of the product. So there are multiple ways to really look at it. Our focus is on the mid market. So we are not really trying to go after enterprise, but we're also not trying to go after very, really small companies. So knowing that really helps us as well.
Well, talk to me about that more, because I think that's one of the challenges with a lot of companies. They try to be everything to everybody, and they don't really. So if I was looking at your company engagedly, what would be the thing that would jump out to me that, oh, wow, they do this thing really, really well?
If you looked at the space we are in, you can either get a product that is a full heavy product like an ERP, right? That big companies would use for employee uh, performance management and employee talent management. Or you can get a really small company based products that are very easy to use, but they're functionally very light, right? I think what makes us interesting is we are in that intersection where organizations that are not too big, they're mid-market, 200, 500 employee organizations, but they still need a robust product. So how do you provide the robustness of a product at a lower price point, at a lower implementation cost, at a high enough service value so that that they're not going to get from a big Fortune 500 type of software company, but is still easy to use and has the functionality that they need. To that intersection is where I like to be at. So an example of that is HubSpot, for example, right? HubSpot is in that mid-market space where they have enough functionality that most companies in that space can use it, but it's also fairly easy to use compared to some of the other bigger products out there. But it also has the functionality that covers 80 to 90% of what those companies need. So we are in the same model as HubSpot in many ways in the HR tech space.
And what was kind of the light bulb moment when you were either pre-development? So maybe you went through, we talk a lot about overcomers on the show, people who have overcome adversity or some other thing, but what really led you to start this company and go into, a very crowded space, which I'm not saying, I'm sure there's opportunity, but it makes it more difficult. What led you to just say, hey, I can do this better?
Yeah, I think when we started the company, those are 7 years ago, 7.5 years ago, the products in HR space were very much an administration oriented products. They were, systems of record. So even performance reviews or goal setting or HRIS tools were very much built for the administrators. And then what we noticed was that employee engagement was a problem. Everybody was talking about it, and they're still talking about it. And there was no product really focused on driving better employee engagement. At that point, the employee engagement meant you ran employee engagement surveys, and that was it. It wasn't like, what are you actually doing to drive better engagement, not just measuring it. So Engagely was born out of that premise that we can actually build systems for the companies who actually want to drive better engagement. So one of the things that we did very early on product was making it very much a community driven platform. So we were very strong on a social component within our platform 7.5 years ago. So it's almost like an internal Facebook, but built for organizations, right? There was a aspect of collaboration. There was an aspect of praise and recognition, and then we gamified it where people got points and badges, and they could unlock different levels within the product. But when they did certain things, like give a praise, or like get a positive feedback, or achieve a certain knowledge or a learning training or something like that. So we gamified the whole thing, and that is very unique. Nobody did that back then, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they may have done it for a few pieces like engagement, but we did it across the platform. So even now, we have gamified learning, we've gamified goal achievement, we've gamified various different actions in the platform, and that can make it more fun and interesting while moving the ball forward for the organizations as well.